This video is how I structured my agency to a team of over 65 people with 77% gross profit margins. And this is all before AI. Obviously, we're using AI now, but what I want you to gather from this video is because I'm getting a ton of Instagram DMs. Jordan, I've solved acquisition. I just don't know how to scale. Do I do like a pod structure? Who do I hire a CSM? Do I hire a head of ops? This is what this is going to cover. Okay, and this is not financial advice. I just want to make that absolutely clear. But why I say before AI is because this is how we structured our divisions, our 6 divisions throughout my agency to get to these margins without having AI enhance it. So think about when I add AI, and that's what we're doing right now with some of our agents in Claude Code. Think about how this is going to improve, right? We can keep the same amount of team, but we can just 5x their output. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm not here to tell you how to run your agency. I'm not here how to tell you how to structure your team. If you want me to do that, then I offer one-on-one coaching. You can DM me on Instagram. But for this video, this is just how I structured our agency to get there. Okay, this also doesn't include software, which at the time of recording this is costing me around $10K a month, and I'd rather always pay more in software and not have to hire an additional 3 employees. But anyway, getting into it, every division, every hire, every economic breakdown behind what we charge, what it costs us to deliver, and what we actually keep across 6 divisions, 65 plus people, and a blended gross profit margin of 77% without a single AI tool in the stack. Now, like I said, we're obviously using AI, but this is just to show you the formula for you to get a base. Now, if you want to just skip ahead and go into each division, you can do that with the timestamps below. I would encourage you to watch the next 5 minutes just so I can have you understand the formula to get each division to its maximum profitability. And I think that's going to be valuable information. But if you want to just skip ahead and you have a particular division that you're curious about, then feel free to, man. It's totally up to you. Cool. So what we need to understand is the agency scale formula. And this may be basic to some of you. This may be new to others. But the point is most of you aren't even doing it. The first thing you need to know before you hire anyone, especially full-time, is 2 numbers. Number 1, how many clients are you signing per month? And number 2, how many clients are you losing per month? So the example here would be, I'm signing 5 clients every single month, and I'm losing 1 client every single month. So in total, I can project that I am signing 4 new deals every single month, and I'm adding 4 new clients every single month. That's a 20% churn rate. That is absolute garbage. Your churn rate should be much, much lower. It should be sub 10%, but the industry standard is 20%, which that means there's a lot of shitty agencies out there and that you could absolutely destroy the competition. But for easy math, the agency churn formula in this case, we are signing 4 deals every single month. Now, if you don't know these numbers, then you have no business hiring right now, because even if by some miracle you land an A player, you can't predictably project growth. You don't know what you need. You don't know for how long. You don't know what they need. You don't know if you can even keep that person on payroll for 60 days, because if you don't know this and you're actually losing more clients than you're signing, 1, your business is dying, and 2, like, you just can't pay for the team members. So the smartest founders know their real numbers, and I want you to be real with yourself. There's no point in lying. I know it's cool to flex online, but business does not take kindly to liars, and scaling does not take kindly to liars, because what you're doing right now, mathematically, is the truth, and that's your baseline, and it's going to show you areas to improve, and it's going to show you, holy shit, why am I not putting my foot on the gas pedal? I could scale this thing. And so if you don't know your numbers right now, then go into Stripe, WAP, whatever invoicing software you're using, sort by new clients signed and clients who fell off. So just download a CSV of this, and if you're just starting out, then at least do the past 6 months, and if you can't do the past 6 months, just do as long as you can. But get a CSV of this, upload it to Claude, and ask it to do it for you. And it's not that hard to get that information. Just make sure you're tracking this. And if you want like a prompt, you could say, hey, this is a CSV file of every single client that I have signed for the past 6 months. Can you calculate to see how many months I'm working with each particular client? And if it shows that you have a LTV of 3 months and you're charging 3K a month, then your AOV is 9K and you have an LTV of 3 months. And you can assume, okay, I have a 3-month LTV and a 9K AOV. I need to improve my LTV because that's going to increase my AOV. But 1 customer is worth $9,000. And then going forward, just to make things easy, set up 2 Slack channels, 1 for onboarding, 1 for churn. Every time your team signs a new deal or loses a client, they update the relevant channel, no exceptions. And this is just going to keep the data live and remove the guesswork. If you want to have AI uploaded into an Excel sheet, you can, but if you're just starting out, like, do the manual work first, then have AI automate it, Then just pair that with a Excel sheet or a Google sheet that lists every client when they started, when they left. And then from there, you can calculate how many months you keep a client on average, because you need to start calculating your LTV, because if you don't know your LTV, you don't know your AOV, which means you actually don't know what your average client is worth, which means you don't know how much you can afford to spend to acquire a client. And if you don't know how much runway a new hire is actually going to buy you. So know your average order value, know how long a client stays. That's the foundation everything else is built on. So to give you an example, I am an agency in the e-commerce space. So a guy I look up to is Nick Shackelford, and he grew Breeze to $40 million ARR in about 2 years. And what his business is, it's a like THC, CBD weed beverage drink. And what he's calculated is that his average client is worth $750. His AOV, I don't know what his AOV is, probably like $75 to $120. But he understands that his average client or his average customer is worth $750. And so he has calculated that any cost per acquisition under $750 is going to be profitable based on his average customer, or based on the value of his average customer. Now, obviously, he had to build all these systems, email, retargeting flows, all this shit that just comes with scaling a business, but he's calculated $750 is what his client is. Now, that's in the e-com space. We're in the service space, so it's harder to scale than just selling a product, but we get to charge more. So as we, like, guys, I don't know where you're at watching this video, but once you start spending money on ads, and I'm talking like 10K, 50K, 100K a month on ads, you need to start calculating what your average client is worth. And if you understand that, just for easy math, let's say your AOV is 10K, which is pretty bad in the agency space, but say your AOV is 10K and they stay on for 5 months because you're charging 2K a month. That means that you could theoretically spend under $10,000 to acquire a customer. You could theoretically spend $5,000 to acquire a customer for $10,000 and you made 5K. Now, in the beginning, your cost per book call is going to range anywhere from $50 if you have a super unique offer, all the way to $700 if you're saying, I do meta ads. And if you're at a $700 cost per book call, then fix your offer, brother. But the point is, in the beginning, your cost per acquisition is going to be relatively low, or at least your cost per book call is going to be relatively low, depending on your closing rate. But as you start to spend more money, your cost per acquisition is going to jump to like 3K, 4K, 5K. And it's just the nature of the game. So be prepared for that, and that's how like the top dudes scale, is they understand what their client's actually worth, and they can just reverse engineer, okay, I can spend X amount to be okay and profitable by working with this client. Cool. Okay, also know your churn. And so here's a churn filter. If your churn's over 50%, fix your churn. What are you doing? That's a full stop. If you're project-based, add a management fee afterwards. If you do have a month-over-month fee where you do marketing for them, then your churn's over 50%. Your service is not good. Your service is not good. You need to fix that before you scale. If your churn's at 20% or under, I would still fix this, but this is industry standard. If your churn is 20%, that is industry standard, which means there is so much potential for you to scale, because there's other agencies out there that have a 20% churn, which is fucking ass. But theoretically, you could start pushing on the gas, because again, a 20% churn, just for this example, means you're signing 5, losing 1 for 4 new clients acquired every single month. Now, if you're sub 10%, that's top of class, and the market is begging you to scale. Now, sometimes your first hire isn't a delivery hire, it's an account manager who brings churn from 20% down to 10%. So this could be if you're a solo founder right now and you have 15 accounts and you're like, I am fucking drowning. Well, then, you're probably going to lose a lot of clients because you're just not giving them the time of day. And then you could hire somebody else to take on 5 to 7 accounts from you, and then they lower the churn because they're getting a better service because there's more time given to them. But again, that's just an example. So I already talked about this, why these numbers matter in practice. If your account manager can handle 10 clients, then you're signing 5 new clients every month, losing 1. That means your net growth is 4 clients per month. So to calculate your churn, take the number of clients you're losing, divided by your total active clients. In this case, if you have 10 clients and you're losing 1 per month, that's a 10% monthly churn rate, which is right at the top of class benchmark, and you need to scale. Now, here's where the hiring math kicks in. If your account manager starts with 0 clients and you're growing at 4 net new clients per month, then by end of month 1, they're handling 4 clients. End of month 2, they're at 8 clients. Somewhere in month 3, that account manager hits capacity at 10. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to find somebody that's really good. And if you're growing at 4 clients every single month and they can take on 10 accounts, then month 1, they're going to be like, Jordan, this is great. I love working here. I could definitely take on more accounts. Looking forward to seeing what next month brings. Month 2, you went from 4 accounts to 8 accounts. And they're going to be like, okay, Jordan, I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. Could probably take on 1 or 2 more accounts, but I'm really starting to max out. Month 3, they're at 12 accounts. Jordan, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do this. Things are slipping. It's a mess. And I'm going to go over how to handle this later. But this is where the hiring math kicks in. You have roughly 2 to 2.5 months before you need to start hiring for the account manager to come in to help take the over volume of clients that you're going to be acquiring. Which means you need to be interviewing at month 1, not month 3. What's going to happen, and this has happened to me, this maybe has happened to you, is if you start interviewing at month 2, you have 30 days to vet somebody, make sure legit, get them on the team, onboard them, get them client facing. That's just not gonna fucking happen. And if you do it in month 3, then you're probably gonna hire the first person or second person you talk to. You're gonna hire the wrong person. They're gonna do a shitty job for your clients. Your account manager is going to get burned if you don't find the right person, because now they're dealing with 12 clients and they can only handle 10. Not only that, but you have to pause acquisition, because your account manager, you can't be like, bro, can you just hold on? We're signing so many deals. Please, we're trying to find the right guy. It takes you a while to find the right person. So this is why the scale formula is so damn important. Is you need to know that you're growing at a rate of 4 clients every single month, which means that at end of month 1, even start of month 1, just start interviewing other people, because at 4 clients, they're going to be fine. At 8 clients, they're still going to be okay, but they're getting past their limit a little bit. And then at month 3, they're fucked. They're done, and they're going to leave. Your A player that you found is going to leave. So by month 1, that gives you 1 month, 2 months, 3 months of just interviewing people, finding the right person. If you do find the right person, getting them onboarded. And then by month 3, you can just bring on the net new customers to that other account manager. And now you're keeping your current account manager happy at their cap at 10 accounts. And you're doing the exact same process just with a new account manager. And it's a rinse and repeat model. But none of that happens if you don't know how many clients you're signing monthly. Okay? Cool. So with that all being said, please take this mistake that I've made and apply it to your business. So to give you some context, it took me 3 years to hit my first 100K month. It took me 2 months to hit my second 100K month. Or excuse me, let me re-say that. With my first agency, it took me 3 years to hit my first 100K month. Then I started another agency, and within 2 months, I hit my first 100K month over month, with that agency. And that's sick. That's really cool to say, but I'm going to be vulnerable here because I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. That speed nearly broke everything. We went from a team, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. We went from a team of 11 to a team of 45 in about 4 months. We had an offer that was crushing it, and we were spending around 10K a month on ads and signing 100K in MRR. I think the first month we spent 1.7 on ads to sign 15K worth of deals. And the next month we spent 10K on ads to sign over 100K MRR worth of deals. It was insane. It was great. Instead of building the foundation to support that growth, we panicked and hired everything that moved. And that was the mistake. So don't do this. And this is what I did and what you should learn from, so you don't do it. So our offer was we write 90 blogs in 90 days for cannabis brands or broccoli brands, because meta bans like weed accounts, THC accounts, gray area brands. And what happens was we signed so many clients so fast that my co-founder, who was the technical guy, was literally doing nothing but writing blogs all day. And because of this, we had to hire somebody on Upwork to offload the work to this guy, because my co-founder his name's Carlton. He was writing so many blogs that he's like, I'm fucked. And then me being the acquisition guy, I'm like, bro, we're signing so many deals. Come on, can we hire somebody? And so we panicked hired. And we went on Upwork and found somebody who was a blog writer. And Carlton's a fucking A++ player. Like one of the best guys in SEO I've ever met in my entire life. But what ironically happened is when we hired this person to amplify Carlton's work, it doubled, if not tripled his work, because now he was writing his own blogs and having to review all the blogs that the new hire produced to make sure that it was up to par. He wasn't doing less work, he was doing way more. And then, like dumbasses, we hired more people from Upwork just to help with the writing process. And we had one blog writer writing 6 blogs a day, then another one writing 12 blogs a day. We had 0 SOPs. Carlton was doing the keyword research and then sending that to the writers. There was no delivery standard. It's just we hit a banger offer and we were delivering great service for the first 2 months, but then he got overwhelmed because he's one guy. So what we had to do is we had to pause acquisition because we launched a rocket with no plan on how to bring it back. And the thing about Upwork is it's fine for one-time projects. So think like, I don't know, a go high level build or something like that, or a one-time automation. But it's not where you find A players that become long-term employees. Because of this, again, we had to pause the ad spend. We let the wrong people go. We rebuilt everything from scratch. And this time with SOPs where every account manager owned their accounts end to end. They did the keyword research, the writing, the auditing, the entire thing. So we could have one account manager handle 10 accounts rather than Carlton and 2 of these extra writers handle 50 accounts. You know, this is the spiderweb problem that you shouldn't do. Please God, do not do this, because I know a lot of you are doing this right now. And it's just such a headache. So as you scale, you're going to be tempted to build this infrastructure. 1 account manager plus 4 VAs or interns. I'll just make this 2 to make a little bit more sense. So think like 1 account manager plus 2 VAs, junior media buyers, interns, whatever, right? And the thought process behind this is good because you finally found 1 account manager who's really good. And you want to amplify the amount of clients that they can handle. Like, I get it. Theoretically, this makes sense, but don't do it, brother. And here's why. Yes, the account manager is going to be quote unquote cheaper, but really they're not. And I'll go into margins a little bit later. But what you're paying the 2 VAs underneath them is just as much as it would cost to hire 1 A player. And on top of that, your account manager is now spending half their time managing 4 people instead of serving their clients at 100% efficiency. Like, you haven't bought yourself more leverage, you just bought yourself a way bigger management problem, and your account manager is going to burn out. 1 account manager can handle 10 accounts. These are 2 different examples, right? So this is the good example, this is the bad example. So 1 account manager can handle 10 accounts. If we're paying top of class account manager, they're going to cost anywhere from $3K to $5K, so we'll just say that they cost $4K. Now, if we're charging a $3K month service fee, and this account manager can handle 10 accounts, then once we're capped out, then that's 3K times 10 equals $30K that we're making minus 4K. So if this account manager can handle 10 accounts times 3K is $30,000. We're paying him $4,000. So we're making $26,000 for some pretty damn good profit margins. That's 80 something. Now, 1 account manager, the other model, which is the spiderweb model where you want to amplify the work that they're doing, is 1 account manager plus 2 VAs. And think VA is junior media buyer, intern, or just VA, because they can handle 20 accounts. So what is going to happen here is you have the cost of the account manager is $4,000. Then each VA is going to be $2,000 for another $4,000. So that's an 8K cost. And then you have 20 accounts times $3,000 is $60,000. So that's good. We're making $60,000 and we're spending $8,000 for $52,000 in profit, which is, again, pretty damn good profit margin. So again, we're making $60K and we're spending $8K. The problem is the service delivery here is way shittier. And you want to know the funny thing is if you just did $26,000 times 2, you would get $52,000, which means if I just added another account manager who was an A player who could handle another 10 accounts, I would have the exact same margins and a way better service. So stop trying to amplify 1 person. Just find 1 person and have them do what they do to the extent of their ability, at the best of their ability. Don't overwhelm them with more work. And let's be honest, like the VA intern model to help with workload, it's just not a good model. These people suck. And that's such a shitty thing to say. And I don't say that because they're bad people. I'm saying that because they're cheap. and they're cheap because they're inexperienced. And if they're inexperienced, then you're delivering an inexperienced service to your clients, which is fucking bullshit. Of course your churn's higher. Of course your churn is 20%. You need one person who's really fucking good at what they do, and that's all they do, and they can only do that for 10 accounts. Don't overstress them. And the irony is that by hiring them to reduce the workload, you've actually created more of it. And that's exactly what happened with my co-founder, is he wasn't doing his job anymore. He was doing his job, monitoring the writers, monitoring their mistakes, fixing that, and then still trying to keep the clients happy on top of it all. It just added an extra 3 jobs. And so your account manager didn't sign up to be a quality control officer for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing yet, okay? Even if you hire a junior media buyer who has 60% the knowledge of your true account manager who has 100% knowledge, that's just like, you wouldn't want Michael Jordan in his prime to train the other team members. You would want Michael Jordan to be on the court winning the fucking game. You know what I'm saying? So stop trying to put these, college athletes underneath Michael Jordan. I hope that example makes sense. But every layer you add between your account manager and the client is another layer where quality can break down. So I just did this, but one A player can handle 10 accounts. Depending on the service, like insert whatever service you offer. For Meta, for example, we can have one account manager handle 10 accounts. But they're going to handle client comms, delivery, reporting, and this is all under one person. And if they're an A player, within the first month, and if they're not, you just cut them. It's clean, it's simple, it's fast. And even when you get to 20 clients, you're managing 2 people, not 5 different people. And both of them are good, It's way less work. And so what I want you to do is think of 2 things. I want you to imagine your agency right now and the structure that you have with your team. With this structure, could you add another 100 clients next week? I'll give you a week. Probably not. And so I want you, and this is the other thing I want you to think about, is how can I scale simplicity? All right. With the A player model, one account manager per 10 accounts means you only need 10 people for 100 clients. That's it. 10 people that are all accountable, all client facing, all incentivized to retain their clients. There's no layers, no babysitting, no broken telephone between your client and the person doing the work. Do you know how shitty it is if you have a media buyer that's really good, that's the account facing guy, and they have a junior media buyer that's doing some of the media buying, and the junior media buyer fucks up, and then the media buyer who's good, who didn't catch that they fucked up, has to explain what happened to the client, and then the client blames the account manager, and the account manager's actually good, and then the client says, hey, I want a new account manager because my account manager's not good, when really they were good. It was just the junior media buyer who fucked up, and so now you have to replace this client with another account manager. It's stress. You can see how this causes more problems than it solves, okay? Even if you have to take a hit on margins. So if I were to, this isn't like a good calculation, but if I had to have 3 people, let's just do what I did over here, going off script here a little bit. So 1 account manager plus 2 VAs, so that is 3 every 20 accounts. So 3 times 5 is 15 people versus 10 people. Is it easier to manage 15 people, or is it easier to manage 10 people at the same revenue? Probably 10 people. The math and the stress isn't even close. So the incentive structure that keeps A players, and this is what we do, and I want you to steal this. And if you're still here before I get into like how I structure my divisions, shout out you're an absolute legend. But we reward account managers for every 3 months they keep a client on. So how we have our contracts is we have a 6 month, we have a 3 month, and then we have a month over month. We usually push for the 6 month. We downsell them to the 3 month, and then if worst case scenario, we'll just do a month over month. But let's just say that it's a month over month contract. We reward our team for every 3 months they keep a client on. So that means if they hit 6 months, they get rewarded. If they hit 3 months, they get rewarded. If they hit 9 months, they get rewarded. If they hit a year, then we'll give them a super bonus. But you're aligning your incentive and their incentive with the health of your business. And so you're both invested in the outcome. And how we structure this is we'll pay, depending on the role, is every 3 months they keep a client on, we'll give the account manager a $100 to a $500 bonus. And so if they keep 10 clients on for 3 months, then that's their base plus an additional, let's just say we're paying them $300, 300 times 10, plus an additional $3K. So that's $3K. And if they keep them on for another 3 months, then that's $3K plus $3K plus $3K plus $3K. So that's $689. That's an additional $12K they made throughout the year. So incentivize keeping your clients happy and on the team, and incentivize your team to keep your clients happy. Okay, so I'm going to go over this briefly. Don't have contractors. Just don't. If you're sub 20K a month, for sure, I guess use some contractors to get by. I get it. You're scrappy. You're signing deals. You need bodies. Fine. But we're trying to build a real business here, and a real business is not built on contractors. And here's the thing nobody talks about with these contractors. You're one of their 10 clients. You're not their priority. You're not their career. You're a line item on their invoice, which means the way a contractor makes more money is by finding more clients or better clients, which means they're always looking for the next opportunity, and your account is not it, buddy. Employees are different. An employee's income is tied to one thing, which is doing great work for your clients. They're not distracted. They're not splitting their attention across 17 accounts with 10 different bosses. They show up every day with job security on the line. And if you've built the right incentive structure, they have every reason to go above and beyond for you. And some of my best employees right now are clearing 15 to 19K a month because they've earned it. And that means that they're keeping clients happy, they're retaining accounts, and the incentive structure is rewarding them for the good work that they're doing. And that's the game that you want to be playing. And your employees are your business. And I said read this twice right here, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Your employees are your business. When you close a deal, you're handing that client to a real human being that you vetted, that you believe in, that you'd stake your reputation on. That client is now your employee's client, their relationship, their responsibility. And are you really going to hand that person's job, your client's entire business, to some contractor who's got 9 other clients open on another tab, or some freelancer who's applying to jobs on Upwork and LinkedIn every single day? Probably not. You probably wouldn't want to do that. Your employees are what your clients are actually experiencing. They are your product. They are your retention rate. They are your LTV. They're everything. And if you want to build an agency that runs without you, scales without you, and that has real value, you need a real team of assassins. Contractors have their place. Sure, think, again, I talked about this, like a go high level build or a website update or something like that. But if you're trying to scale, if you're trying to build something that lasts, the contractor model is going to keep your churn super high and your margins super unpredictable. Okay, like hire experts, pay them well, reward them for retention, and that's how you build a real agency. And I know a lot of you guys are using contractors right now, and I really want you to just get out of that mindset of I need a contractor because, oh, I'm only paying them per account, so my margins make sense. I get it. But once you cross that 20K a month mark, like, bro, just get somebody who's really fucking good and then just focus on signing deals. All right, we've made it to meta ads. So this is how we structure our meta ads division. So our meta ads account manager owns everything. They do creative briefing, media buying, reporting, client calls, and the overall growth of the brand on Meta. That's their world. They're obviously going to collaborate internal or external creative teams that we have when there's a high volume of creatives that need to be produced, but the account is theirs. The performance is theirs and the client relationship is theirs. And so whatever the account needs, they get it fucking done. And one strong Meta account manager can handle 10 clients at a time. That's the number, and we don't want to push past that. And the economics behind this is we hire overseas, obviously, no W-2s, none of that bullshit. But the average market rate is around like 2K to 3K, and so we want to pay above market rate at around 3K to 4K. I'm just going to put 5K because that's what we've been doing lately. And we only hire media buyers who have a minimum of $5 million in ad spend to their name. Like that's the bar, and if they haven't managed that level of spend, then they're not ready for our clients. Well, Jordan, how do you find somebody that has $5 million in ad spend and you're only paying them 3 to 5K a month? I will go into that. We're not just paying them this. We have some really dope incentive structures. I talked about that earlier above, but we also have some other incentive structures to make sure that everybody's happy. So here's how the math works. At one client, at 3K a month, this is what we're charging, plus 10% of ad spend. We are break even to slightly negative. So again, we're charging on average a client 3K a month plus 10% of ad spend. So if we're paying our team member, let's just say 4K a month, then we're negative. If we sign one client, about $1,000 negative. But that's fine because we've solved for acquisition and understand exactly how many new clients we're signing on a month-over-month basis. At 2 clients, 3K times 2 is 6K. Now we're profitable at 2K. At 10 clients, we're extremely profitable. that one hire at full capacity is generating serious margin for our agency. And that's the model. So the media buyer cost is, and I'm not going to say media buyer because they're fucking not. That's not what you need to be doing anymore. It's a growth strategist. They cost $3K to $4K a month. Again, that's more like $3K to $5K a month. Minimum charge per client is $3,000 a month plus 10% of ad spend. That means on one client, we're break even to slightly negative. 2 clients, profitable. 10 clients, extremely profitable. The media buyer account manager cost is 3 to 5K. Minimum charge per client is $3K a month plus 10% of ad spend. 1 client, break even to slightly negative. 2 clients, profitable. 10 clients, extremely profitable. Margin at 10 clients, $30,000 in base retainers against 3.5K on average. We'll just make that 4K, but for this particular example, it's $26,500 in profit, which is a margin of 88% before ad spend percentage, which only makes this number better. So if we do have an ad percentage deal, then we are 90+% margins, baby, when this particular person is filled. And obviously, if we have a percentage of ad spend deal structured, we reward our account managers with them scaling the account. Obviously, we want to take care of our team. So when to make the first hire, if this is you, if you're a meta ads guy or meta ads agency. If we're above 20K to 30K a month, we're probably capped on how many clients we can personally handle, right? Again, we're making 30K a month if we have 10 clients per account manager. That's the trigger. So once we hit 20K a month, a little bit earlier than that, think like 10K to 50K or 10K to 15K. That's when we really want to like get our interviews over with and start like onboarding somebody else. But this is the transition part that most agency owners get wrong, is clients are going to be nervous. They signed up because of you, so here's how to handle it. So actually, I know what I was trying to talk about here. You may be a meta ads agency and you may be the only guy working with clients and you're scared to transition somebody over to handle some of your client workload. And if I know you're scared right now, but the only way you're going to grow your company is if you get out of client delivery and you focus on growing your company. Or you're just going to be stuck at 10K, 20K, max 30K a month for the rest of your life. And you're going to be working fucking 60 hours a week. That sucks. That is not fun. So if you have clients and you're worried about transitioning them to someone else, then here's what I do. I'm going to go off script for a little bit. I'm going to read this, then I'm going to tell you what we do with a little bit more detail. So we tell them, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still in the Slack channel. I'm still available. I'm still across everything. Jonathan is here to own delivery and make sure you're getting even more attention than before. And then we hype Jonathan up. Tell him he's the best media buyer we've ever worked with, because you don't sell the transition. Clients are going to assume you're passing them to some junior media buyer, offshore person who has a thick accent who has no idea what they're doing. The assumption will kill LTV before Jonathan even get started. So I posted an Instagram video about this. It's linked here. But what you basically want to do is make Jonathan Jesus. You want to make him the second coming of Christ. And if you bring somebody on and you've interviewed them and you've vetted them and they're good, then you've obviously showed them your accounts and they probably have some opinions and you've vetted to make sure that they actually know their shit. You've also probably hired somebody that can speak English relatively well. And so what I think would be best for you is if you have weekly calls, then on week 1, I want you to invite Jonathan to that call. And Jonathan's just going to shut up. He's going to be in the background. You're going to introduce Jonathan to the client. And you're also going to say like, hey, this is Jonathan. You think I'm good at media buying? You have no idea what good is until you meet Jonathan. Actually, Jonathan's been behind the scenes of a lot of your growth, actually. So I just wanted to have him here so he could chime in with a few thoughts. Oh, hey, Jonathan, nice to meet you. Cool. And then Jonathan will just say, hey, nice to meet you as well. And then he just kind of like shuts up and listens. Week 2, he's going to understand how the meetings go a little bit. He's going to talk maybe 25% of the meeting. You're going to talk 75. And then week 3, you're going to talk 50%. Jonathan's going to talk 50%. Week 4, you're going to talk 25%. Jonathan's going to lead the call. And then by week 5, hopefully you can just have Jonathan take over the entire account and the client communication, because that client now trusts Jonathan because the client's asking Jonathan questions. Jonathan's been answering them appropriately. You've been coaching Jonathan on how this particular client responds, their attitude, what they like, et cetera, et cetera. And then bam, Jonathan now has trust with the client and communication with the client. You can go focus on growing your company. And so we made this mistake because we were scared to transition accounts away from our main media buyer. He was doing a great job and we didn't want to like rock the boat, quote unquote. So instead of hiring a second account manager, we hired somebody to support him, to take the load off, and it made his workload way worse. If you skip to this section, I encourage you to go back because I have a really, really good story about this. But if you've already watched this YouTube video thus far, then just use the example I was talking about earlier. But the point is, you don't want to manage his account, or you don't want him to manage his current accounts, then have to monitor the junior media buyer who's doing a shitty job. And then now he has 5 extra clients he needs to be in communication with. He's going to get burnt out. He's taking too many clients, and it's just not a great way to scale. You want one person to do one thing with 10 clients 100% well, rather than one person to do 5 things 20% well with 20, 30 clients. It's just a shitty way to scale, especially in the service industry. So, and if go back and listen to me talk about this if you haven't listened already. It's so detailed and juicy, and just, again, what we do to make sure that this never happens again, that you don't ever do that again, and how you can get to 87% gross with one A player rather than 87% gross with one A player and 3 shitheads and a super high churn rate. Let's talk about Google Ads. So our Google Ads division runs the same as Meta. One A player account manager can handle 10 accounts. Whoa, I can't talk. One A player account manager can handle 10 clients, full ownership of the account, campaign management, reporting, client calls, overall growth of the brand on Google. Same bar, same structure, same economics as Meta. The key difference is where the complexity lives. On the Meta side, the heavy lifting is the creative. And when a brand needs a high volume of creatives, briefed, produced, and iterated on, that's where the Meta's account manager plate fills up super, super fast. So we've had some agencies to help with that. We also have some internal team members to help with that. But on the Google side, the complexity is in the account structure. When a brand has a large number of SKUs or needs serious tracking infrastructure built out, that's where the work gets dense. A sophisticated account with messy historical data, broken tracking, or hundreds of product feed requires significantly more time to get right up front. Like, for example, we had a guarantee with Meta that was, we'll get you a lower CPA in 30 days or less so you don't pay. We tried to have that with Google, but we had to up it to 60 days because Google just takes more time. It's a little bit slower. And so the 10 client rule definitely still applies, but how hard those 10 clients are depends on the sophistication of the account and how much work is needed to get them scaling. If we're doing local lead gen for dentists, we could handle 50 accounts with one account manager. If we're working with e-com brands that have 30,000 different SKUs and they're doing $2 million a month and they've custom coded their site, that account manager is probably going to only work with that account and maybe 2 or 3 other accounts, because that's a ton of work, right? So a clean account with solid tracking and a focused product line is very different from a legacy account that's been mismanaged for 2 years. So it's the same hire profile, same ownership model, same incentive structure. Just know what you're walking into before you decide how fast to fill the account manager's plate. So Google Manager account costs, again, $3K to $4K. Minimum charge per client, $3K a month plus 10% of ad spend. Exact same structure as Meta. 1 client were break even to slightly negative. 2 clients were profitable. 10 clients were extremely profitable. Margins of 10 client. Again, we're at $26,500 in profit for 88% profit margins. And again, before percentage of ad spend, which is sweet. Now SEO, this one's a little bit tricky. What we're about to talk about is how we built this division without any AI tools. And it worked. But today, our margins are even better and our output is even more refined because we've built an internal AI tool called Visible that writes blogs guaranteed to rank based on exact keywords we want those brands to rank for that are long tail, right? So think if you're selling protein powder, it's not going to rank for protein powder, but it will find the best protein powder for pregnant women, has super high arbitrage opportunity, so it'll write a blog for that, upload it to the site, and now they're ranking for that specific keyword. So it's super valuable. But now, previously one account manager could handle 10 brands with 1 blog a day per brand. But now this one account manager can handle probably 40 to 50 accounts because the platform just writes 95% of the blogs. If you want access to this, just DM me on Instagram. I will sell the absolute shit out of this to you because it's a really fucking good product. And then you can turn around and upsell your clients on this as well because it is a very, very good product. And a lot of brands aren't doing SEO. But this video is not how we scaled without AI. So here's the structure that got us here. So the SEO division runs on the same ownership model, but the team structure looks slightly different. Before we built out any internal tools, our structure was simple: 1 SEO account manager paired with 1 content writer. Now the account manager owned everything strategic, keyword research, on-page optimization, link building, the formatting, whole SEO shebang. The writer had 1 job: produce content based on keywords the account manager wanted the brand to rank for. The churn problem with SEO and how we solved it. So SEO clients fall under two camps. They either don't see the value and panic because rankings take time and they churn fast, or they understand it's a long-term play and they never leave because SEO is just free traffic that compounds month over month without any ad spend, no cost per click, just organic volume building and compounding on itself. And the clients who get there are some of the stickiest clients you'll ever have. Our LTV with SEO is so long. And I think that's so funny. It's ironically the hardest service to sell because the traditional SEO agency is like, hey, pay me $5K a month for an ROI in maybe 6 months. Probably it'll take longer though. Like nobody wants to say yes to that. But for the people that understand SEO, they're like, yeah, sure, that makes sense. I know I need to do this. But typically it's because they have Meta, Google, every other acquisition channel figured out. And they're like, okay, finally I can focus on SEO. But the problem that most business owners don't think about SEO until it's too late. It's usually the last service they consider. So we built an offer specifically designed to get skeptics into the pipeline fast. That was our 90 blogs in 90 days offer. And the idea was simple. It's instead of the one standard blog a month model that most agencies do, or a blog a week, we would do 30x the input for the first 90 days, target these long tail keywords in this industry that are getting like 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 searches a month. Basically enough search traffic for it to matter. And then we just times that by 90. And that would be a shit ton of traffic coming into their site. And we would rank them fast, show the client a measurable spike in organic traffic in a short window, and prove SEO works before they have a chance to doubt it. Now there's some context here as well. Obviously, if you know SEO, you know writing a shit ton of blogs to a site that has no optimization is a damn waste of time. And so, funny enough, is the 90 blogs in 90 days would book a lot of calls with people that were already doing a ton of SEO. They just didn't have the writing figured out. So if they weren't doing SEO, then we just changed the conversation to like, hey, you need to optimize X, Y, and Z. You have a ton of dead links. And, oh, okay, cool, that sounds great. What does that cost? Oh, well, it'll be blah, blah, blah. And we get the sale there. And then upsell them later on the blogs. If they're already doing SEO and they just don't have a writer who can pump out creative or blogs at the volume that we can, cool, they'd be a perfect sell for our 90 blogs in 90 days. But the point is, if we got them on the 90 and 90, then it would optimize for quick wins, and then we could upsell them later on full stack. So that's our funnel. Quick wins, long-term retainer second, but who to hire? SEO is a black box for like 95% of business owners. Most of them don't understand it. They can't see it working in real time, and because it takes longer than any other service to show results, they're usually the first to doubt it. And that's again why we had the 90 blogs in 90 days offer. But in my opinion, the most important quality in an SEO account manager isn't how technical they are, it's how well they can communicate. God bless you SEO guys out there, but you guys are some freaking nerds, okay? And your communication skill is not the best, because if you love SEO, you're probably not very fun at parties. Man, I'm roasting you guys. But the point is, like, if think of yourself as an e-com bro, and you're talking to somebody who does SEO for their life, and the e-com bro is like, hey man, I'm spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads. Like, why is SEO taking so long? Or why is SEO only doing this amount of revenue? And then you have somebody who's like, well, it's because we're ranking on this keyword, and actually over the past 3 months, we've increased organic traffic by about 40%. So actually we are growing here, and it's just because of the formatting here. Like, you understand what I'm saying? You need somebody that can communicate the value of SEO to the client and showcase that it's working in a language that they would understand. If you're dealing with a technical founder, cool, piece of cake. But a lot of times we aren't. And so we need somebody who knows their shit, but can also take everything they're doing behind the scenes and explain it in fifth grade terms. So someone who can sit on a client call, break down what keywords we're targeting and why, show them what's moving, make them feel confident that the work is working before the rankings fully kick in. That's what keeps SEO clients on for the long haul. Obviously, we want somebody who knows what they're doing. We only hire people who have been in SEO for 3 to 4 years at least and have worked with brands similar to ours. But given the choice between somebody who is an incredible technician with average comms and somebody who communicates brilliantly and is a solid executor, we're taking the communicator every single time because we could just train them on delivery. Delivery is a hard skill, communication is a soft skill. And communication takes much, much longer to train because you need to have a ton of experience communicating, embarrassing yourself, figuring out your voice, etc., etc. SOPs can close the gap on execution, communication, and soft skills. Again, they take years to refine. You may disagree with me. That's okay. This is just our experience, and again, how we're doing it on our end. Cool. Economics here. SEO account manager costs $4K a month. Content writer costs 1.5K a month, total delivery 5.5K. Minimum charge is 3K, 10 clients 30K, gross profit at 10, 24.5K at 82%. Solid above 80% margins. Cool. Division 4, content creation. So content creation is the division we have been refining the most. And there's a reason for that, and that's because the media buyer is dying. And honestly, most of them are dead at this current point of me filming this. But what scales an ad account today is good offers and creative based on what the market is already receptive towards, and then having landing pages based on those winning offers and creatives. The content that stops the scroll, speaks to what the audience is already thinking, and makes the decision to click feel obvious is what their entire job is, and creative is 95% of the battle. And so before we get into how we built this division without AI, we have since built an AI UGC and content creation platform that generates literal entire UGC videos that could be 4 minutes long that are designed to perform in the ad account. We scrape from foreplay in these top ad platforms to see what the best performing ads are for top brands on Meta, and then we just can take those specific avatars, put a client's brand twist on it, and scale their ad account very, very fucking fast. It uses Higgsfield, it uses Seedance, it uses a Nano Banana, it uses all of them. It just formulates it correctly so there's no hallucination whatsoever, and you can build as long of an ad as you want, and it's fucking sick. Just DM me if you need help with creatives. But again, for the purpose of this video, here's how we scaled it to 70% margins without our AI UGC SaaS that we built. So content creation in our agency is primarily built to support Meta. We charge a flat 3K a month for Meta ads management, and then $5,100 a month when content creation is bundled. And so we have since moved packaging to a percentage of spend to help with creative costs at scale. But for this, it would be Meta for 3K, creative for 2.1K. The mistakes you need to avoid. Do not sell Meta ads management without any creative delivery unless the client is providing creatives themselves. And not only that, you're sure that the client is providing creatives, because if they don't, you're going to get fucked. That's the only time it's acceptable. 8 times out of 10, you need creatives being generated consistently to scale your ad account, and you need to be the ones doing it. And if you're not feeding the account what it needs, then performance stalls, the client panics, and they're going to churn. And not because your media buying was bad, but because the creative pipeline just dried up. And so how we structured our creative before we built anything in-house is our Meta account manager owned the creative briefing. They have the best understanding of what the account needs, what angles are working, what formats are converting, what the marketer is responding to, etc. And the brief would start with them every single time. And then for the production, we went down 2 routes depending on the spend level and what we were charging the client. So we had a creative agency that we would hire, and this is like relatively super high volume. Think they're spending high 6 figures a month to 7 figures. But a good creative agency can produce static, source and manage UGC creators, handle communications, and turn around content super fast. And if you're charging less for Meta and creative management combined and need to keep your cost base lean, this is where you start. A solid creative agency will deliver around 50 creatives a month across your accounts, give or take, depending on the account scale and the creative demand. But anything over that, the costs are going to start to climb. So the pros of this is that there's a high volume of output without building an internal team. They handle UGC, create comms and logistics, fast turnaround, one cost, no relationship, or one relationship. There's no headache, but you are dealing with an agency and you just kind of have to play by their rules. Cons, quality is inconsistent and harder to control. They're working across multiple agencies and clients, so you're not the priority. There's less alignment about specific account strategy. You're dependent on them, and they can drop the ball at any time, and their volume is capped at around 50 creatives a month, and anything beyond that really starts to add on cost. And so this route got us scaling early. The quality wasn't always the best from them, but it was good enough to keep accounts scaling and moving while we built the infrastructure around it. And so the in-house creative strategist, probably going to cost similar, around 4K a month, but with a completely different output, because they live inside your agency, they live inside the accounts, they understand your clients, they're aligned with your media buyers, and they can build creative that is directly informed by what's happening in the ad account in real time. And what's good about them is tighter creative to strategy alignment. There's the output of quality is built specifically for the account. They grow with your agency, so they're going to get better over time. The clients can feel the difference because they're probably showing up to the client calls as well. So that means you're going to have a higher retention. And because the creative is so dialed into the account strategy, they'll often help scale ad accounts faster. And if you have 10% of ad spend, then you're making a shit ton of money, right? Cons, typically they're doing lower volume than an agency that has systemized this. But again, it's probably because it's more quality. As you scale, you'll need to hire additional editors to supplement their output, and this is an added cost, but it's part of the game if you're working with some really big clients. And it just takes longer to get up to speed rather than an agency that already has systems in place. But I promise you, once they're up to speed, it's going to be night and day in regards to delivery. So this route makes sense when you're charging 5 to 10K a month per client, or you have a percentage of ad spend built into your pricing. And at that price point, you can justify the specialist. You're going to scale those accounts much, much faster, and the quality of creative becomes a core part of your value proposition. Just know that one strategist can only handle so many accounts, which means as you grow, you'll need editors behind them to keep up with the volume. But the economics here is around $2,100 a month is what we're charging our client to do creatives. We've since upped this, but for 10 clients, this is around $21K a month in creative revenue alone. So if we're doing meta ads management, that's $5,100 times 10 for $51K a month. Media buyer is $3,500. Creative agency is $4K a month. So that means total cost is $7,500 for a gross profit of $43,500 at 85% gross profit margins, which is sick. Now, scenario 2, meta management plus in-house creative strategist. So again, we're charging $5,100 times 10 is $51K in rev that we're making. Media buyers costing $3.5K. In-house strategist costs $4K a month. Additional editors as volume grows. Obviously, it's going to be variable. So we'll just say that it's cost us around $7,500 a month for a gross profit of $43,500 at the same 85%. But compresses as you add editors to support volume. But where this will make sense is if you hire a good creative strategist to generate these creatives, then you're going to be scaling these ad accounts faster. And if you have a percentage of ad spend, then you're going to be making more money in the long run. So the agency route gives you cleaner margins out of the gate. The in-house route gives you better creative quality and faster account scaling, but the margins tighten as the team grows. So know which game you're playing before you build the team around it. Okay, email. Email is the most complex division we have built. It's my favorite offer because once you sign somebody for email, they never leave because you're getting them a 35 to 40%. If you're doing good at email, you're generating them 35 to 40% of their monthly revenue. So if they're making 100K, 35K of that is coming through email if you're doing your job, right? But email is the most complex division we have built. And I say that with full confidence, having built out a Meta, Google, SEO, and CRO division. Email is content heavy, technically demanding, and requires a level of holistic understanding that is genuinely hard to find in a single person. So here's how we have it structured. So what an email account manager actually owns is there are two types of roles in our email division, and the distinction, it matters. It's very important. So first is the full account manager, the person who owns everything from point A to point Z, strategy, comms with the clients, copywriting, creative briefing, quality control, assembly, and deployment. They write the brief for what the email should look like, assign it to the designer, and when it comes back, they check spelling, grammar, formatting, and whether the email has been assembled correctly before it goes anywhere near a client or, even worse, a send. The second is an email marketing executive. Same skill set, same delivery, ownership, but not client-facing. They handle everything behind the scenes while your senior account structure or client success lead owns a relationship depending on your team structure and where you are in your growth. Both models work, but how many clients can one email manager handle? So stop thinking in number of clients, start thinking in number of emails per day. And this is where it can get a little bit confusing, but I go over the calculations later. So some clients send 10 emails a month, some send 40. You cannot measure workload by headcount. You measure it by output. A solid account manager can handle 4 to 5 new emails per day plus 3 revisions. A rock star can push 6 to 7 per day, but as a safe zone, plan for 80 to 100 emails per month per account manager across their entire client book. So in ballpark terms, that works to around 5 to 6 clients per account manager. But again, that number shifts depending on the complexity of the accounts. A small client in a niche industry can be harder to manage than a large client with straightforward briefs. Again, whatever industry you serve, insert nuance. We have had accounts with fewer emails that required significantly more time simply because of how technical and industry specific that content needs to be. So as a rule of thumb, for building your team around 10 accounts, 2 account managers handling 5 to 6 clients each, 1 to 2 graphic designers supporting email production, 1 copywriter depending on whether your account managers are writing copy themselves or not, or and then 1 person to verify copy and graphics to make sure everything is synced together before anything goes out. The key insight from building this division is that the team needs to be complementary. Every account manager will have strengths and weaknesses. One might be exceptional at copy, but average on the technical side. Another might be a strong project manager, but needs support on creative direction. So build the team so that the weaknesses of one person are covered by the strengths of another. And that's what makes the division actually function at scale. And I know I'm making it very complex, but welcome to email delivery. And so our minimum bar for hiring somebody who's actually good is a minimum of 3 to 4 years of experience in Klaviyo. If they understand Klaviyo, they can learn any other platform, but Klaviyo is the industry standard, and they need to know it cold. Beyond platform experience, they need Klaviyo Academy certifications. Our team has them, and we expect any new hire to get them. Beyond the technical bar, they need a holistic understanding of copy design, how an email should be structured, and the strategic side of retention. And that combination is genuinely rare. So when you are evaluating these candidates, look at where they have worked and how long they have stayed. Agency experience at a reputable shop for 3 or more years is a very strong signal. It tells you they have been exposed to multiple niches, multiple clients, and real volume. And funny enough, we poach most of our email hires from other agencies. Sorry if we've stolen somebody from you. But like the honest truth about these email margins is, yes, it's my favorite because the LTV is so long, but like I just want to be straight with you, our margins will never hit 70%. We have AI, so it will. But right now, our head of email, who has built this from the ground up, puts the ceiling at like 55 to 60% gross profit, and here's why. Email requires so much from one person. Copy, design, technical platform knowledge, strategy, retention, client comms, niche fluency. Finding somebody who is exceptional across all of these areas is very difficult. And when you do find somebody close to that, you still need a team around them that covers their gaps. That means more headcount, more cost, and tighter margins than any other division we run. And honestly, I'm okay with that because it's my favorite division for a reason. The email division earns its place in our stack, not through margin, but what it does for LTV, and the overall value we deliver to our clients is showcased through that. I mean, and we're willing to sacrifice a bit of margin here because the returns on the client relationship side more than make up for it. So the economics here is that one account manager costs $4K, designer and copywriter is another $3 to $4K, copy and graphics verifier is $3K. Total team cost is $10K to $11K per month. And we charge an average of $4,500. This has since been up to $5,500 per client, to a range of like, it depends, but our minimum's now $5,500. But like what we're charging right now for email is anywhere from $4,500 to $12,500, depending on email volume and brand size. So the math is 2 clients, we're negative at 70%. 3 clients, we're at 22% gross profit. 5 clients, 53% gross. 6 clients, 61% gross. So if we get that to 10 accounts, but again, it's depending on how many emails they're sending, then obviously our margins will start to go up. But the profitability tipping point is around 3 clients, and then from there, every client we add is compounded, and at 5 to 6 clients, we're sitting around 55 to 60% ceiling. And right at 6 clients, that's when we're getting to the maximum amount of emails that they can actually send and handle. And so on bundling, we use this to discount when clients took on multiple services. And that's another thing is like once we sign somebody for email, and this is the benefit of like being a full stack agency, is if you are crushing it for email and you're seeing that their meta ads team is shitting the bed, then you could have a conversation for meta, because you're obviously getting such good returns with email. They trust you. And so if you're getting a 41x ROI on what they're paying you, then of course they're going to trust you to do other services. Okay, this is all just extra stuff. Read this if you want. Email was the biggest one. But I want to get into web dev and CRO because I have been talking for a very long time. This division has the most unconventional story of everything we've built. And honestly, it's one of the smartest moves we've made. We didn't build this in-house. We actually outsourced CRO to a very small agency that was incredibly good at what they did. And at the time, we were referring them roughly 3/4 of their entire client base. And at some point we looked at the math and said, what we're paying you versus what we're making does not make sense. Our margins, like post-sales commission, cost of acquisition, we're sitting around 30%. And that's not a business, that's just like a referral arrangement with bad economics. So we gave them an ultimatum, basically said like, look, dude, we're a majority of your acquisition. We want to keep helping you grow, but like you need to lower your rate or we're going to build this out internally. And they said, well, no, we're not going to lower our rate. And so we started building internally. And 2 months later, funny enough, they came back to us and they had realized that we were their primary acquisition channel, and without us, the business didn't work. And so they dropped the rates, and today we operated around a 60-40 split where we keep 60% of the rev and they take 40%, but they handle 100% of the delivery. And the delivery is top notch. And this is why referral maxing is so important, you guys. But could we build this out internally? Yes. Will we eventually? Probably. But right now, they're just simply too good to walk away from. And the economics, they now make sense. And if we give them more clients, then we'll get that up to 70% for us and 30% to them. And that's what I'm saying right here is once we hit 25 clients through this partnership, our margins jump to 70%. And right now they're managing around 15 clients. They're handling hiring, team growth at zero cost to us. And I think that's super good leverage. And it makes me think if I even do want to build out a CRO division in-house, right? But CRO belongs in your service stack because you cannot meta ads your way out of a bad business. You cannot spend your way out of a brand that has a 1% conversion rate with an AOV of $50. Like CRO is the foundation that makes everything else work better. It supplements the LTV of every Meta and Google client we have because when the site converts better, the ads perform better and the client stays longer and everybody wins. And so what we charge for CRO is around $30K to $50K per website revamp. A split test is $4,500 to $8,500 a month. Performance-based packages of revenue, we're starting to move clients toward this model where it makes sense. Though if we already have a percentage of ad spend and deal, adding another performance bonus on top it's a tough sell. But anyway, the biggest mistake CRO agencies make is they operate entirely project-based. I have a buddy who's doing around $135K a month with this CRO agency. But he's been there since September, and now it's May, because 40% of his clients are on a project basis. And once the project ends, the revenue ends, and there's no MRR, no predictability, no compounding business, and they have to sell themselves into profitability every single month from scratch. And if you're building a CRO division or partnering with a CRO agency, here's how you keep your clients on post. So if you're building a CRO division or partnering with a CRO agency, here's how you keep your clients on post project completion and build predictable revenue. So if they're making enough money, we have an ongoing split testing retainer. There's always something to test: headline, CTAs, page flow, checkout experience, upsell sequencing, and just position this as this is going to be a 3-month project, but this is never going to end. And if you want to work with us, then it's just going to be $3K a month for consistent testing. Another way is monthly reporting and insights. Give clients a monthly breakdown of what was tested, what month, what revenue impact, and just make the value visible every single month. So canceling feels like leaving money on the table. Like, yes, you built them a new website. Here are the insights of the new website. Okay, cool. You're spending more money because of this new website. It helped you increase your conversion rate. If you want me to essentially make sure that the website stays up to date, or that you understand like where these reports are going through and where you should spend more money towards X landing page or blah, 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 then that could just be like a lower maintenance MRR fee. Then you have the seasonal optimization. So every just think quarter, right? And there's always seasonality, you guys. There's Mother's Day, there's Father's Day, there's Earth Day, there's New Year's, there's Christmas, there's Black Friday. There's everything out there for you to have a specific landing page. And so every brand has moments where conversion rate can make or break a campaign. And so position yourself as the team. They need a retainer specifically for those windows. Like if they want to make 2x the revenue for Black Friday, they need you. They just need you. And then you can predictably say like, okay, I worked with this client from May until August, and then I also know I'm going to work with this client in Black Friday of Q4, right? That's now you just worked with them and you have 2x'd your LTV. Or if you're full stack, then just bundle with existing services. And if you're not full stack, then partner with another agency that does, and then just take 10% to 20% MRR of whatever this agency that offers a service you don't, and just stockpile that as your MRR. So if you're already running Meta or Google for a client, the CRO retainer becomes an easy upsell. If you're doing CRO for them, then Meta would become an easy upsell. If you're doing CRO for them, then SEO would become an easy upsell. Like you're already in the account, you're already seeing the data, you already know what's working and what can be improved on, and you're the most qualified person in the room to improve what happens after they get their customer to click onto their site. And the goal is to turn every project into a relationship. One project close should be the beginning of a 12-month retainer, not a one-time invoice. And even if it is a project, then have some sort of maintenance fee afterwards just to keep your MRR stockpiled, or you're going to get stuck like my buddy, you know? So how to keep A players and maintain margins. So this is, I believe, the last section. Yes. So hiring A players is acquisition. Treat it that way. Just like you're trying to sign new deals for your clients, or you're trying to sign new clients every single month, you need to be hiring and building landing pages for A players every single month. So if you want to hire A players, you need to treat recruiting the same way you treat client acquisition. Volume is everything. When we were looking to fill our head of email role, we fired up 3 recruiting agencies simultaneously. We ran some small budget ads in some of these different countries that have really good talent and they speak English. And we did that because we need pipeline, we need options, and you need to move fast when the right person shows up. And the second thing is that A players are almost never looking. They're not finding, they're not on job boards, they're not on Upwork, they're not looking to find a new role. They're sitting inside companies that are already underpaid, that are locked in a box with nowhere to go. And we ran our search for head of email, and after about 20 interviews, one of the agencies came back with this guy, talented, sharp, and told us our current email process was complete shit. And that was basically everything we needed to hear. But he was at one of the most respected email agencies in the entire marketing space. He was honestly at the biggest email marketing agency. And I won't name drop, but his problem was that he had no growth projection at all. He was completely tapped out with his role. He had zero room for promotion. And that is what is crazy about some of these big agencies, is they attract incredible talent because they have the name. They just have nowhere to put them after the role has been filled. It's a great place to build a reputation, but it's not a place to build a career. And so we came to him with 3 things. We said, hey, we'll make you more money because we're going to give you better money, a real leadership role, and a clear picture of exactly where he could go inside of our company as head of email. And he took that literally, because now he's our CEO.